I want to start out with growth fears because we're hearing very mixed comments around the pace of growth across Europe. We're hearing from George Soros about the potential for a depression worldwide, that the consequences of war and what we're seeing with escalating inflation is going to have major consequences for populations. But Europe still thinks it's going to avoid a recession. What do you think?
I think that we are avoiding the recession. We are paying much attention to how this can impact socially, so paying attention to the most vulnerable groups, and at the same time we are facilitating prosperity and growth with the type of investments that we need to promote a much more modernized economy. And I think that for the time being, even under these very difficult circumstances, is working. And it is working because we are staying united, in a solidar mood, and very flexible on how we need to address the different things that can happen along the years.
Is there a risk, though, of groupthink, that everybody is around each other saying they're optimistic about investments, about transitions, they're positive about what's taking place on that side? And let's face it, it's been very hard to get the right capital in the right place for a long time in Europe. So finally it's all coming together around digital and green plans. And the other point, too, is that we've come off the back of a pandemic. There's been very wild demand stories that even CEOs, economists can't figure out. Do you think the picture just could be a little bit cloudy and maybe everybody's missing the potential for a downturn?
I think that we are paying attention not to miss that point, and that to be in a position to react in case this could happen. We are investing in the skills, in the labor market, in the innovation fields where we think that could allow us not just to deploy what it exists already, but also to invest on what it will be needed. And I think that this is very important. The other thing which is working reasonably well is to take this opportunity to be much more coordinated, to complementary our different capacities, our different infrastructures, so to be much more sound, much more effective, and much more efficient in the use of any capacities we have in the different member states. And for the time being, the outcomes, of course, may be distorted in terms of inflation, but are quite positive in terms of employment, in terms of growth, even in these circumstances. And, well, we hope to be able to cope, and we hope to be able to come out from this situation in a much more strengthened manner.
Minister, there are many concerns, though, that the vast amount of money that has been raised domestically and at an EU level for recovery funds across Europe will actually be misused now because of the current crises, the current price of energy, the current price of food, and actually the money that should be going to all those issues that I know that are very important to you and that Karen just mentioned there as well, are going to be misused perhaps on price caps, on actually shoring up energy security with hydrocarbons, albeit some of the cleaner end hydrocarbons, rather than using this money on a true innovation, on true renewables going forward. I think a lot of that money is getting sidetracked now.
I think that we need to be very consistent, very coherent. Of course, we need some flexibility in the very short term, particularly in some countries, in those relying much more on energy materials coming from Russia that need additional time to get rid of that. But at the same time, we are trying to be very consistent in the mid and long-term goals and to accelerate what we know that it is the right response, to be much more autonomous in terms of taking advantage of the local materials that we got to produce energy at affordable price. This is why we are investing in efficiency and retrofitting of the households. We are investing in smart solutions, including the grid, in the boost of renewable energy solutions, and as I was saying, to anticipate the next technological challenges, how to develop green hydrogen, how to store electricity, how to facilitate the common use of the different infrastructures, and how to pay attention to the cascading effects that this situation, the external dimension of this situation, the external facts such as the Ukraine invasion, but also the impacts in the economy, in the cascading effects in the different societies. So paying attention to the social dimension, paying attention to the external cascading effects, as you said, food security, or the displacement of suppliers from some countries to others. So yes, it is of course a quite challenging situation.